What is up, my friends? You are very welcome along to tonight's Late Night Agenda, where we had a feeling that Ibrahima Konate wasn't going to start today for France, so that's why we're doing a stream instead of a regular watch-along. Loads for us to go through, so we're going to be giving you guys the latest on Liverpool's transfer search. There has been some updates with regards to the likes of Leny Yoro and a few others, but as always, we hope you're enjoying life, enjoying the Euros, and enjoying having some football to at least discuss. Still 0-0, Daniel said in the France game. Let me just arrange my seat, actually. There we go. There we go. Now I'm central. So I hope you're all good. Loads for us to get through. I've been missing the Liverpool news, to be honest with you. But today we started to get some inklings as to maybe some activity in our transfer business. How's my day been? It's been good, thank you, Aaron. Nice and busy, which is always a good complaint to have. We're just finalising a few bits and pieces. We're getting ready for next season ourselves and getting the content schedule sorted out. So lots of boring stuff, bro. Lots of boring stuff. So yeah, Ibrahima Konate on the bench tonight for France. So that's why we didn't do the watch along. Do feel free to keep us up to date in the live chat with what is going on in that game. A couple of upsets as well. I mean, are they upsets? Romania 3-0 victors earlier on over Ukraine. And of course, then we had Slovakia beating... who did they beat again? 1-0? Belgium, who are the perennial underachievers at international competitions. And Romelu Lukaku can just get no look at the minute. 2 goals ruled out for him earlier on as well. Will I be live for the draw? The draw? What draw? I don't know what you mean, the draw. You mean the fixtures being announced tomorrow? If that's what you mean, then of course not. It's released in the morning. You know me. I don't do AM. Fixtures are out tomorrow, for those who are asking, and we will discuss that today. There's also been a little bit of a change of rule with regards to the embargo about announcing the starting lineups. It will now be put out 75 minutes rather than 1 hour before the game. So we will talk about that tonight as well. Craig, do you remember when we were interested in Kvaratskhelia from some Ukrainian team? Yes, of course. I do. Ian Air over there on the Harley. And they weren't playing ball over Kvaratskhelia. We tried. We didn't get to the number they wanted. We didn't get the player. He went elsewhere. And yeah, of course, I definitely remember that time. That was one of the more frustrating times. It was around that time as well that we initially, if my memory's right, lost out on who was the other player? On Salah. Yes, it was Salah around that time as well. He went to Chelsea, if my memory's right, in and around that time when we were messing about and we couldn't get to the number that Basel wanted for Mo back then. Worked out all right in the end, though. Goat of Gaming said, "Hey Craig, hope you're having a good day. What do I think about the Yoro bid today?" Well, look, I'm going to speak about Leny Yoro in a minute, but what I don't understand is, look, he's a great player. And I'd have him at Liverpool in a heartbeat, and I'm sure many of you guys would as well. But we all know how this ends. He's going to go to Real Madrid. And the reason he's going to go is because he wants to go. And his contractual situation means that it's far more likely that he'll either play patient, wait for Real Madrid to agree a fee late in the window, or he'll sign a pre-contract and leave at the end of the next season. But either way, I'm sure Lille would rather get money for the player, and I'm sure Liverpool would rather buy him, but he looks like he has his mind made up that he's going to Real Madrid. And I think we're just going to have to accept that one. But yeah, we will talk about the bid that's been reported have gone in and been rejected by Lille. We're going to talk about Manchester United maybe going up against us for a centre-back as well. An opening bid in the Crescencio Somerville debacle. Is that the word? Fabrizio Romano saying that Brighton have already started to make moves to try and sign him. We're going to talk about a couple of other bits and pieces. Liverpool goalkeeper problems as well we'll be discussing, and plenty more over the next 90 minutes or so. Right. So, firstly, I hope you're all well. Thanks for joining us. I do appreciate the Euros being on, the sun being shining, people are busy, but there's still Liverpool stuff to go through. Dino said Real Madrid pull is gravitational. It kind of is, and especially when the player has let it be known that that's where he wants to go. It's like Arlian Tchouameni. I've no doubt Liverpool would have signed him. I've no doubt Liverpool would have probably paid the money for him. But the player made it clear pretty early in negotiations that he had his heart set on a move to Real Madrid. And sometimes you just got to shrug your shoulders and move on. And that's what I hope we do. Because I don't want to see this Leny Yoro thing drag on all summer with Liverpool hanging around just in case Madrid don't get it done. Because that's a dangerous game. And we've got other targets that, of course, we need to go after. More achievable targets. The likes of Marc Guehi from Crystal Palace, who, in my opinion, had a very good game for England in their 1-0 victory yesterday. France 1-0 up, own goal. There you go. Thank you to the chat for filling me up in this one, or filling me in on this one. France scored an OG from Austria, gives them the lead. I have to say, it's been lovely to see all the crowds at the Euros as well. This feels like the kind of first normalised tournament, international football tournament in a while with regards to Europe, because obviously the Russia World Cup, the Qatar World Cup, the last Euros was spread all around Europe, and this one in Germany feels like a proper fan festival of football. Alex said, I thought Trent was good last night. I thought he was okay. He wasn't amazing, but he certainly was by far nowhere near the worst players out there for England. I was looking at some of the reviews and some of the player ratings and stuff. I don't know sometimes what game Sky do be watching, because they were able to somehow give players like Phil Foden a 7 out of 10, where he was nowhere near it. Phil Foden's an incredible footballer, but nowhere near getting a 7 out of 10 from last night's performance. Same with Harry Kane. Didn't really impact the game at all, but we're still getting decent scores. For me last night, if you're looking at England, yeah, bit of a mixed bag for Trent. Some good, some bad, but it's a learning experience. England got their win in the end, so I guess that gets them off to the perfect start. But yeah, I was happy. I thought the interception Trent made in midfield that set up one of the attacks was really good, and I hope that buys him a bit of time, because the English media seem to be waiting for Trent to make a mess in midfield so they can jump all over it. But thankfully for him, I thought he put in a good shift. But I am worried about the Jude Bellingham stuff. You know, you see him and Bellingham celebrating together, even on the sidelines. It's not doing good for the old ticker, is it? Do I think Trent will join Bellingham at Madrid? I don't know, but I hope to God not. I hope not. You know, but I can't lie, mate. Every time I see them together, every time I see them celebrating, and every time we know that Trent still hasn't signed the new Liverpool deal, it worries me. It does, of course it does. But hopefully Trent stays. I hope he stays. But you know, it's in the unknown at the minute. We don't know what's going to happen yet. The entire midfield went missing in the second half, said Colin Brooks. Yes, and the change from Southgate to bring on Conor Gallagher for Trent, I thought was a bit of a weird one. But look, if you're an England fan, you won. So take it at that, you know. You got the victory, you got your 3 points on the board, and the opening game of any tournament can certainly be a difficult one. Just ask Belgium. Is there a bigger underachiever, by the way, over the last 10 years on international football with the talent they have than Belgium? Because they really just don't show up at the big tournaments very rarely, and this golden generation is coming to somewhat of an end. Did give us a few minutes to have a little look at Bakayoko. Had a shot cleared off the line as well. I think it was Hanko that made that clearance off the line, but he looked lively when he came on as well. Thoughts on the Belgium game, said F4XST. Well, one, you got to give credit to Slovakia. It was Slovakia, wasn't it? I always get Slovakia and Slovenia mixed up. You got to give them their credit. They dug in hard, they were disciplined, they worked really well, they defended manfully, they put their bodies on the line, and they got the result. If you're Belgium, you're going to feel pretty unlucky. You know, Lukaku had 2 goals ruled out. One of them for a handball in the build-up, one of them for a very close offside. But you know, you got to win. You got to score. You got to win these games, and they haven't. So full credit to their opposition who get themselves off to the perfect start. Right. We've done the 10 minutes where we usually hang around and wait for people to come in. So now we're going to get straight into the news stories. And today, the first one that came to our attention came from Mundo Deportivo, and it's been backed up by a load of different people as well, that said Liverpool have had a £42 million bid for Lille's Leny Yoro rejected, with Lille holding out for £50 million for their defender. Now, on this one, I wouldn't get excited if a bid gets accepted, because you still have the whole aspect of the player. So let's see a world now where, let's say Liverpool said, okay, we'll pay the 50 million. I still don't see Leny Yoro becoming a Liverpool player, because we know he wants to go to Real Madrid. So, unfortunately, I think this is just us wasting our time. And I'd be really interested to know if you guys agree with it, because every time Connor sends me anything on Leny Yoro, I kind of just say, mate, I feel like we're just simping a little bit here, you know? We want him, he doesn't want us. What can we do about it? And even if, let's say, the Madrid deal did break down, I still feel like it'd only be a matter of time till they come back in for him. Because remember what we spoke about last week? The Real Madrid scouts tagged Leny Yoro as a player that they should sign regardless of the price and regardless of whether he's ready to go into their team right away, because they see him as an undoubted talent for the next 10 years or so. So they really, really, really have him as a priority to sign him, and he wants to go there. It just feels like, I don't know, it just feels like we're setting ourselves up for misery. So I hope we move on very quickly from Leny Yoro, because he's made his indications clear. Not seen any of the well-known press say we did bid, nor have I, Peter, nor have I, and that's why I credited Mundo Deportivo, who were the only ones who've made this bold claim. And of course, you know, them being Spanish, it makes the negotiation for Madrid that little bit more easy, doesn't it? To say, well, look, he's already turned down the proposals of Liverpool. He's a Madrista. He wants to come to Madrid. So I think all of this playing in just makes it feel like move on, if indeed we have put that bid in. Now, we know Michael Edwards doesn't like these things doing the round, so if there has been no bid gone in, I wouldn't be surprised if we actually hear about a centre-back bid. Remember what happened when Liverpool were rumoured to be flirting with Ruben Amorim, and he made that trip over to West Ham. The very next day, Liverpool announced Arne Slot as the candidate, as the one that we were going to bring in. So maybe we get the same with the centre-back, who knows? So, I can't give you a name yet, but I am happy to say we now have a confirmed special guest for our Liverpool show. Don't want to tell you who it is just yet, because we're still finalising the fine details of it, but we do have a very special guest. Our Discord group knows who it is, so shh. Discord group, don't say it yet. But if you are going to come to the Liverpool show, we are working really hard to make it a memorable one for you, and we've got a very special guest coming up as well. Delighted, I'm so excited by this guest. So it isn't a former player, Ratton, so don't worry about that, but I think you'll enjoy it. Right, what have we got? I had 3 individual bets on Belgium to lose all their group games, 20 quid each. I'm already well up. A new Belgium would shit the bed. Carl, I love it. I love it, mate. Well played, you. I love it. I'm always hearing about people, but there's 666 people in the chat right now. That makes me nervous. 669. Sign of the devil there, you know. I was getting a bit nervous with 666. Is it Elvis? Yeah. It's Elvis and Tupac. Elvis and Tupac are going to come with us. And Freddie Mercury's going to pop in as well and do a little bit. Is it Taylor Swift? Well, yes. Okay. So it's Elvis, Taylor Swift, Freddie Mercury. Anybody else? That we could come up with? But no, it is a guest that we know you guys will enjoy, and we'll make it a special night as well. So, is it John Oliver? Mate, if it was John Oliver, I'd be very happy. But no, mate, it certainly is not John Oliver. Is Biggie going to be there? Well, I am, so yes, I guess technically. Right, more news to get through before I get distracted by your awesomeness. Right, let's get stuck into this. Where was I? Where was the news? 30 offie. There we go. That's the start of today. So, Trent was speaking after his performance with England in midfield, and this is what Trent had to say. It's physically demanding, but when you're playing with the likes of Declan Rice and Jude Bellingham and others around you with experienced back four behind you, it helps. With Declan and Jude talking to you and guiding you through it, it's hard to go wrong. The manager and the staff, Steve Holland especially, were really good to work with in this role. I was well prepared and I knew what was asked of me and what role I needed to do, and hopefully they felt like it was executed well because we got the win in the end. So, good words from Trent. I thought Declan Rice was almost faultless in that England midfield, by the way. I thought he was really good for England yesterday. But again, nice to hear from Trent. Now, don't worry, I'm going to speak about Kvaratskhelia in a moment or two because he wants out Napoli. That's not even up for debate. When I read you out what I'm going to read you out, you'll know that Kvaratskhelia wants a move. Real Madrid ain't going to go for him. Barcelona can't afford him. So for me, if Liverpool are interested, and there are some connections to say we are, I am sure. But I am sure he's achievable and he's gettable, and I'll tell you why in a couple of moments' time. Is it Mila Kunis? Yes, Roger. What I thought I would do was dig myself a big hole and bring the person who my wife knows I fancy the backside of to the live show. So yes, Mila Kunis will be there. Yeah, I won't be though. If she was there, I wouldn't be there because I'd end up in trouble with the wife. But no, it definitely isn't Mila Kunis. But if you want to come and see us again, we're down to a handful of tickets. You can get your tickets with the link in the description or pinned to the top of the chat. Right, so let's get talking about Kvaratskhelia, because you know my take on Kvaratskhelia. He's a good player, but I'm unsure if he's somebody that has shown enough consistency. That being said, comments from his father do show why maybe that consistency has waned a little bit. So I'm going to take you through what his agent has had to say and what his dad has had to say. So speaking to Georgian TV, Kvaratskelia's agent said this. Pretty clear now, so wait till you hear this. I don't want people to think that Kvara wants to stay at Napoli. We want to leave, but we're waiting for the end of the Euros so as not to disturb him. The priority is to join a team that plays in the Champions League. So the agent wants out, the player wants out, and his father wasn't holding back either. So his father, speaking about the agent's comments on his son's future, said this. I don't want my son to stay at Napoli. They changed coach 3 times last season and it's hard to play in a similar situation. That could explain some of the sketchy form. Because when they won the Scudetto, when Napoli won Serie A, they were incredible. You know, Kvaratskhelia was amazing. Lobotka in midfield was amazing. Their attack was amazing. They were really good. But they fell off a cliff. But if they've gone through 3 coaches in a year, it's not unusual or not understandable that maybe some of the players like Osimhen or Kvaratskhelia weren't performing at their best. So I'm open-minded if Liverpool are indeed interested. So what are we thinking? Kvaratskhelia. It's doable because you can clearly see there his agent and his dad want him out of Napoli. And then you're going to look at, he wants Champions League football, so that's a priority. So who is there? Us, PSG. Not really thinking of anybody else who could maybe afford those numbers. And if you're looking at it from a career perspective, let's be honest. PSG, what are you going to win? You're going to win the French League maybe. You're not going to win the Champions League. Is it a step up in your career? No, it isn't. Serie A is a stronger league. So what are we saying? Possible? Not possible? I've not seen a valuation, by the way, so I've not seen a number mentioned anywhere. It's Mighty Red, Craig, isn't it? No. You know my stance on Mighty Red. I'm not a Mighty Red fan. Do I remember the Channel 4 cartoon series The House of Rock? No, I don't, Mark. Was that based on the... No, actually, I just don't remember it. Sorry, mate. I just don't remember it. Craig, Kvara or Chiesa, in your opinion? So, honestly, both. I mean that sincerely. I'm not trying to be sensationalist. The way I look at Federico Chiesa is this. He's available for a decent fee because he won't sign a new deal. As it stands, unless Thiago Motta changes his mind. But as it stands, Federico Chiesa is about to go into the last year of his Juve deal. And he can be gotten for probably half his market value. So I would be all over Chiesa regardless of anything else. I think he's a player we should absolutely be looking to sign. If we were to lose somebody like Diaz to Barcelona or Salah to Saudi, then I would absolutely be talking to you guys about the likes of a Kvaratskhelia. So that's where I'm kind of at with this. I think Chiesa you could justify no matter what happens. But Kvaratskhelia, you would almost, in my opinion, be looking to the future. So whether that's the future for Salah leaving, and I know Kvaratskhelia plays on the left side and inverts to the right foot, I get that. But again, I've talked many times about the fact that Liverpool have a history of changing players' positions around, so I wouldn't be too concerned with that. David Massett said, Kvara will cook at Liverpool, Craig. Well, we'll get a poll on it in a minute, but I'm interested to see what the fee would be. So De Laurentiis, the Napoli president, in the past has quoted about £80 million or about €100 million. Now, his contract situation, I don't know. So I'm sure somebody can find that out for me in the chat. But yeah, the contract situation's an interesting one. But you've heard what his dad and his agents had to say. That isn't sitting on the fence. That is very much we want out of Naples. Chiesa isn't the player he was 3 years ago, in my opinion, said Tobias. Maybe not, but he's still come back from that ACL quite well. And this season, I think sometimes, Tobias, it's about the situation. And for a versatile player, for a knockdown fee, I would take the risk for the right money. And I would want that money to be less than £30 million for Chiesa. Anything over that, and I feel like the risk becomes a bit less worth it, in my humble opinion. Am I bringing a leprechaun over in your suitcase? No, Sabrina be in the front seat of the car, mate. She's not here, so I can be brave about this type of stuff now. Is it John W. Henry? No, the club and John W. Henry still won't reply to us. So, no. The club are very much just blanking us. They haven't replied to any of our very kind, very open emails. They've just blanked us, which isn't surprised me, but I'll still be here saying, where's the money, John? Regardless. Have I watched Game of Thrones? No, I haven't, Ben. No, not my cup of tea, bro. Alisson to Saudi for a huge fee and keep Kelleher. That's not happening, thankfully, Aaron. Alisson's made it clear he's staying at Liverpool. Taffarel staying as well. But I do have an interesting situation developing with Jaros. So Pep Linders wants to bring Jaros, Miroslav Jaros, over with him to Salzburg. Now, last season Jaros played over in the Austrian Bundesliga, won the league and the cup with Sturm Graz. But one thing I didn't realise was that he only has 1 year left on his Liverpool deal as well. So now we've got a situation where we might lose Kvaratskhelia Kelleher, and the backup goalkeeper that I would like to promote has 1 year left. So again, a decision's probably going to have to be made here on what happens with Jaros, because Pep Linders wants to bring him over and sign him for RB Salzburg. So this is another player. So now we've got Van Dijk, Salah, Trent and Jaros with 1 year to go on their contracts. And Jaros now being linked with that move over to Austria. So I'm genuinely wondering at this point what we're doing. You know, who's working? Who's doing due diligence on these contracts? What on earth is going on? Do I see Liz in the... Liz, how are you? Lovely to see you in, my friend. And I hope life is doing okay for you, my friend. I know we had a discussion in the Discord group, but it's lovely to see you in, Liz, as always. Premier League fixtures out tomorrow. Who do you want first? I don't care. I don't... You know, you play everyone twice over the course of a season, so I've no idea. I don't overthink the fixtures, because a lot of them will get moved around anyway. Some of them will get changed for cup competitions. Yeah, but we'll go through it tomorrow. When they are announced, of course, we'll go through it in tomorrow's video and live stream. Could give him Jaros on loan if he signs a new contract and Kvaratskhelia stays. That's the thing, though. There's a big... I don't think Kvaratskhelia stays. I just don't. All the conversation seems to be around him departing this summer, which I can understand from his perspective. But from the club's perspective, we got to get our finger out. You know, we were linked with a couple of goalkeepers, one from Monza, who I think Juventus are interested in as well. We've been linked with him for 21 million, but Juventus look like they're further along the road to signing him. Pranav said, we don't need Kvara. Gakpo will nail down the left wing. I'd much rather sign Kudus or Elise if we sell Diaz. We do need options, though, on the left as well, Pranav. I mean, I'm with you on Gakpo. No argument, mate. I think Cody Gakpo on the left wing is more than good enough. But we do need competition as well there, or we're going backwards again. And we've been doing that a little bit as a club in recent times, you know. We bring in a solution, but it's a solution to a problem that we've created rather than a solution to a squad deficiency, which is where I hope we get to. But I do agree with you on Gakpo. Big fan and really liked what he did for the Dutch yesterday in that wide left position. David Massett, how are you, my friend? Looking forward to the show in my hometown of Liverpool, flying from Italy. Nice! That's awesome, David. Have you got your tickets? I hope you do, because honestly, You can go on the site and look yourself. They're limited at this point. They're nearly sold out. But I hope you've got your tickets sorted. And again, I can't wait to see you all and meet you at the show. And if you want to come and see us, Cardiff, Liverpool, link at the top of the chat. Who do I think will win the Euros? France, Germany, or England? Maybe Portugal. And I've named a lot of teams there, but I keep changing my mind, mate, because you look at that Spanish performance and I think that was quite impressive. England, I wouldn't be worried about starting a competition slowly because it's about finishing well. You know, it's not a sprint. So England have time on their side to figure it out and get better balance. So yeah, France, Germany, Portugal, England, Spain will be there or thereabouts probably as well. You've got your tickets sorted. Nice, David. Glad to hear it. I would have got one for you anyway, mate. I would have made sure you had a ticket if you didn't have them sorted already. I'm coming, bro, said Anfliv. Really, thank you so much. All of you that have bought tickets to come and see us. We're going to make sure we put on a good night for you as well. And watch this space. Till we announce the special guest, which we'll announce soon. Portugal is a really good squad as well, said DKH96. They do. Very deep. I don't think Holland will do it, Maz plays. I don't think they will. You know, they've got a decent squad, but I don't know if they have the firepower to go and win it. But, you know, it's a great tournament, and I'm looking forward to watching it unfold. It's great to have 3 games a day in the opening week or two as well, isn't it? Right. So more news, because I've loads to get through. We can finally give you guys a bit of a positive update on Alan Hansen, which I normally wouldn't talk about if it wasn't from the club, but it's coming from Graham Souness, a family friend, a former teammate. And Graham Souness has provided a positive update on Alan Hansen's health, which I'm so relieved about, and I'm sure you guys are as well. Graham said, I spoke to him yesterday and he sounded fabulous, so I hope that's him on the way to a full recovery. And he said he's definitely recovering because he did nothing but take the mickey out of me, which is great to hear. So much love to Alan Hansen and his family, and of course, you know, we're so happy for that positive update. I just want to send my love out as well to Brian, aka True Geordie. Brian posted today to say that he'd been in hospital with a very bad case of pneumonia and he's still in hospital. He's recovering, but he said it went south very quickly. So from all of us at Anfield Agenda, we want to send our love and best wishes to True Geordie. Of course, we've messaged him privately as well, but hope the big man gets back out soon and back to doing what he does best, which is making content. Right. Saudi Arabia beat Argentina in the first game of the World Cup. Look what they went on to do and win it, said Carl. Did I see the Ukraine game? What an own goal. I didn't. No, I didn't catch that game. That was 2 p.m. and I was only waking from my slumber at that point. Craig, do you think we have a chance to get Vinicius Jr.? No, I don't, mate. I feel like if Real Madrid lose somebody there, it'd probably be Rodri, but even at that, I can't see us coming to the table for that much money. Please talk about the transfer news. I am, but I also have other stuff to get through and people to interact with me. And I've already gone through some of the transfer news already. So, you know, I'm doing my best, but bit by bit. Right, so, Mundo Deportivo, the same people who apparently posted about our offer for Leny Yoro that nobody else has backed up, have said that Atletico Madrid are joining the race to sign David Hanko from Feyenoord. Obviously, Liverpool and Leicester City's name have been linked to the player as well. They say Arne Slot knows the player very well. He's valued at about £29 million. I don't see it. I don't. I know it's easy to make links for Liverpool and Feyenoord because of Arne Slot, but I honestly don't think it's going to happen. Maybe Geertruida, but other than that, one signing from Feyenoord would be max in my opinion, if indeed we do even make any. So I don't see Liverpool having to concern themselves too much with the business that Feyenoord conduct this summer. Netherlands Got Talent don't qualify for dark horses, but Romania definitely. Yeah, look, a lot of people are very impressed with Romania's performance today. You know, 3-0 victory in your opening game definitely gets you some attention. Callum said Hanko played well today. He did. Showed great bravery as well with that on-the-line clearance from Bakayoko. Collided with his teammate's knee as well. And yes, he put in a very good performance, as did the rest of his team. Sell Salah, sell Van den Berg, sell Diaz, sell Kelleher. That's like 180 million. Sign Yoro, Inacio, Elise, promote Yoro, Somerville for backup. So, a couple of things about your comments. One, and I can't say this clear enough, Leny Yoro doesn't want to play for Liverpool. And we need to come to terms with that as a fan base. And the club need to come to terms with that as well. He's going to go to Real Madrid. It's just a matter of when. If it's going to be at the end of the summer where Madrid hammer down on the price with Lille, or if it's going to be when his contract runs down in a year's time. He's going to go to Madrid. So we need to forget about Leny Yoro. It ain't happening. I wish it would, but it won't. When a player says straight out where he wants to go, and he's in the contractual situation he's in, that's where he's going to go. Who else did you say in that list? So, sell Salah. Look, you know my thoughts on that. I'd sell Salah. I think that's the right call. Van den Berg. Yes, Van den Berg wants to be moved on himself. You know, he's spoken about wanting to go and play football, so I think we will see a sale there. Kelleher. Yes, again, I think I agree with you on that one, because Queeveen wants to go and play and establish himself, so I can see that. Now, your fee there of 180 million quid, what do I think we could bring in for those? Yeah, you know what? I think you're on board with the number. I think the number you've got there is about right of 180 million. I think that's probably fair. And then with regards to your incomings, Yoro, no. Inacio, look, if we wanted Inacio, I still don't understand what we're doing, waiting around. You could sign him at any point by just triggering that release clause. Elise, I'd very much like, you know that, but again, Chelsea in that hunt. And you talk about Somerville and backup. Well, Somerville is... the race for Somerville has started because Fabrizio Romano has said that Brighton have already made contact over him. He said, understand Brighton have made contact to start talks of a Crescencio Somerville deal. Not an easy one with so many clubs keen on him, but they've started initial talks to explore the possibility. Liverpool and Chelsea have been monitoring him in recent months, and Fabrizio Romano said it's still an open race. Rustum Dalal said, is there any truth to the rumour that Michael Edwards only wants to sign players below... I don't know what that part... I think you meant to say 25 years. So... you can never say only, because there are obviously instances where Liverpool would sign shorter term deals or whatever, but in the main, the thing that Liverpool look for and Michael Edwards look for in a signing, according to reports, is a player who is experienced but still young, so let's say 23, 24, has played enough games that Liverpool can have a good sample size of them at the top level, with the ability and the potential to continue to develop, and for a fee that Liverpool deem value. That's kind of where we're at with our transfers under Michael Edwards. So we can never rule anything out, but I think you're far less likely to see the likes of an Endo signing under Michael Edwards than Jurgen Klopp. So yes, some of what you've said is spot on, but there's no hard and fast rule. Every player is evaluated on an individual basis, but ideally, yes, 24 or under, and with the potential to develop. Hello everyone, what did I miss? Who are we interested in? Well, you missed the most important part, Santino. That Biggie, Tupac, Michael Jackson, who else have we got coming to the live show? Taylor Swift, Freddie Mercury, Ringo Starr, and I think a few other made-up names that we said are coming to the live show in Liverpool. I like the look of Nagelsmann in Germany. Very good. If Slot doesn't work out, I'd go there, said Callum. Look, I don't want to start thinking about Slot not working out just yet. You know, we haven't even heard from the man, let alone start writing him off yet. And I'm not saying you're writing him off, mate, but let's just see what we hear from Arne Slot first. And thank you, by the way, to Santino, Rustum Dalal as well on their super chats. Thank you guys, really. Marc said Trevor O'Reilly renewed his membership earlier on as well before the stream. So thank you very much, Trevor, for that. Appreciate your support, sir. What else we got? I can't believe the Douglas Luiz situation, Craig. Remember I told you we should go for him. You said he's too expensive. Now we could have probably got him for 50 million. Why don't we act? So, couple of things on that, right? It's far more palatable for Aston Villa to sell him out of the league. Because if they sold him to us, obviously they'd have their fans on their back more. They'd have strengthened a rival. So selling him to Juventus, I can see their perspective. But you are right. 50 million quid or thereabouts is a bargain. And I actually don't like the deal that Aston Villa have gone with there for Weston McKennie, 20 million quid and another player. I think they've weakened themselves unnecessarily. Now, before somebody comes back to me and says, Craig, they need to sell for FFP, I get that. But I feel like they could have sold somebody else to make up the shortfall rather than one of the most important players in their midfield. So, yeah, that's a strange one. Dybala as a forward option, surely, said Paul. The mad thing, Paul, about Dybala is that there's a clause in his contract that's active that you can sign him now for 12 million euro or about 10 million pound. Now, he's 30 years of age, but I've said all summer, this stinks to me of a Spurs signing. Somebody right at the tail end of their career who has the potential to maybe pull a few bits of magic out, right at a price point that Daniel Levy would like as well. So, if anybody wants to sign Dybala and bring him to the Premier League, he's definitely achievable. Georgie said, man, I wish we got anyone from Real Madrid. I don't know why, but I have the impression that every main player, their best position would be the perfect piece for us. Mate, I'm sick of hearing Real Madrid as well. You know, they're just too alluring, is probably the right phrase, isn't it? Yeah, Tchouaméni went there, Bellingham went there, Yoro going there, Rodrigo turned us down and went there. Yeah, it's tough, but sometimes you've just got to shrug your shoulders and think, well, we can't compete there, so move on. Which is what frustrates me about the whole Leny Yoro stuff. He's going there, so I don't understand why the media are still talking us up so much. What did I think of Trent in midfield? I thought he was okay. You know, some good, some not so good. But all in all, certainly held his own. Little bit loose in possession earlier on in the game, but then had that lovely interception that set up a counter-attack that England probably should have scored from. And he wasn't afraid to have a couple of cracks as well from outside the area. So yeah, I think he did quite well. Just a good experience forward. Feel he could help the likes of Darwin, etc., said Paul. My own preference, mate, and I can see where you're coming from with Dybala, because it is tempting at that money. But I just think Chiesa would be a better signing. More versatile, in my opinion. Younger. And again, in a position where you could get him for a realistic transfer fee because he's got 1 year left on his Juventus deal. We have Harvey who turned them down. That's true, Stephen. That is very, very true. Harvey Elliott, I'm sure you're all aware of this, but in case you weren't, Harvey Elliott did indeed turn down Real Madrid. In fact, he was offered a tour around the Santiago Bernabeu by the captain of Real Madrid at the time, Sergio Ramos, and he turned them down because, one, he's a Liverpool fan, and two, what Sergio Ramos did to Mo. I mean, if you don't love Elliott for that, you're never going to love the kid, and I love him to bits. So, yes, very good point, Stephen. A Santino, legend, thank you, bro. 5 gifted memberships, appreciate you. This June is the worst month for a content creator, by the way, in football. It's so scary. Every June I think our channel's dead. I think our channel's dying on its backside because the numbers go really, really low. But it's the same every year, but it doesn't stop scaring me. Fall Boy said, I don't think Somerville is good enough player for Liverpool. I don't know if he's good enough or not, but it doesn't excite me. It doesn't strike me as anywhere near the level that I would like us to sign in that position. And I do have limited watch time of Crescencio Somerville, but I don't know. He must have something about him because you've got Chelsea, Liverpool and Brighton all showing interest in the player. Mbappe's just missed the sitter. Fraud. Didn't want him anyway. Right, so this breaking. Premier League has removed its team news embargo, meaning team lineups will now be announced 75 minutes before kickoff time instead of an hour, which is good news for us because on the hour mark it makes it very difficult to start a watch along an hour beforehand and have the team selection ready. So now that we've an hour 15 minutes, that definitely helps us as content creators. Right, a little bit on Levi Colwill as well, again from Fabrizio Romano. Liverpool have shown an interest in Colwill. We know that much. But he'll only leave Chelsea if he asks to leave the club. Bayern Munich, as reported here and elsewhere, have more interest in Jonathan Tah. But Chelsea have so far received no official offer from Levi Colwill. And they don't look like they want to sell him. Kind of trying to throw the kid under a bus there by saying the only way he leaves is if he puts in, a request to leave. So we'll see how that works out. Again, a player I'd love at Liverpool and a player that would tick a lot of boxes, but at the moment, all we have is conjecture. We always love a bit of silly season, said Tobias. Mate, I love it. Honestly, I'm a transfer hound. I love all the rumours and gossip and, I know some people get tired of it and some people get a bit bored of it and just want to know when someone signs. And I respect that as well. But for me, this is all part of the game. I'm going back 10, 15 years ago before the internet was really around. I remember reading the newspapers every day in work trying to find out, what the latest links were. When we signed Fernando Torres, I remember reading, I think it was the Daily Mirror at the time, when I was working over here and just being so excited about that breaking story. Honestly, Craig, how many would be realistic for us to sign this window? I think bare minimum 2, but I'd prefer 3, and that's without any outgoings. So right now for me we need, I wouldn't say a new spine, but I would go right through the spine. Centre back, defensive midfielder, versatile forward. That's what I think we need right now. And that's before we look into what happens if Kelleher departs, what happens if Diaz or Salah was to depart. Then I think you can make an argument for more. But right now, minimum 2, but preferably 3 signings for me is what's needed. And I mean ready to go, compete into the first team signings, not the future for 3 years down the line, because we've got plenty of them coming through. Our academy's well stocked. The future looks very bright in that regard. But if we want to really go and try and win the Premier League next year or win the Champions League, I feel like we need to be a bit brave in this transfer market. Tanya said Guehi. Yes, I'll talk about Marc Guehi now in 1 second, Tanya. Bear with me, mate. Right, so a couple of things on Marc Guehi today. Liverpool are one of the clubs looking at him. That's been confirmed by Sami Mokbel. But another club have also signalled interest in Crystal Palace's Marc Guehi, and that is Manchester United. And this piece here from Anfield Sector goes on to say that if Guehi doesn't sign a new deal, Palace will likely ask for a fee of about £65 million for Marc Guehi. And I'd pay it. I genuinely would. Homegrown, now going to be an established English international as well. I think he's the guy. He is the common sense signing, in my opinion. It is a big fee, but you always have to pay a premium for a homegrown player. But I would pay it. A £65 million, maybe even 60 if you could try and knock it down. I do feel that's a good, solid signing and one that I'd be very happy with. Would I rather have Guehi or Colwill, assuming the costs were similar? Guehi. I think there's still some uncertainty over Colwill, but an undoubted potential. I think Guehi's given us a bit more clarity on what he's capable of on a more consistent basis, so I would edge to Marc Guehi personally. Don't worry, the fans will come back. You're great, said Adam Cooper. I appreciate you, mate. Look, numbers are down for everybody across the board this time of the year, but it's scary, when you've got the boys and you've got the salaries and all to pay out, and the numbers are down. You know me, I'm a worrier, so I always worry about these things. Tobias Bakke said, I dream of Jamal Musiala in a Liverpool shirt. I'm with you. I'd love him, but it's not going to happen. unfortunately. I feel like he'll end up at Bayern Munich for the rest of his career, probably. Because if there's one thing Bayern always try to do, it's make sure that they keep the best German talent where possible. I feel like they're going to make a play for Florian Wirtz next summer as well. So yeah, but Musiala is incredible. I'd like to ask a question for you England fans as well on Musiala. He could have qualified for England, right? So do you feel a little bit... Imagine him and Bellingham in that same English team with Declan Rice. Ooh, that's gotta hurt. Am I watching the France game? I'm not, Morad. No, I'm not, mate. Once I knew Canade wasn't going to play, I just thought no need for me to really watch the France game. You can rely on me to tune in, said Finty Tin. Much appreciated, bro. And look, do hit that like button, hit that subscribe button for me as well. I feel like by the end of this week, by Sunday, the show in Liverpool is going to be sold out. I feel like I need to give you that warning because I know there are still people waiting on the tickets. It will probably be sold out by Sunday. So, if you want to come along to Liverpool, you know what to do. Click the link at the top of the chat, scan that QR code, or use the link in the description. And we will be announcing our special guest in the next week as well, who we've just agreed today. So I'm really excited about that. Penalty France, said Gary Allman. There you go. I remember the Caicedo situation. I was on holiday in America with my family. Me and my dad were so excited. Even though we didn't get him, I love transfer window. Constantly refreshing. Fabrizio Romano. That Caicedo thing, I remember that like it was yesterday. I was convinced we were winning the league, without a shadow of a doubt. And yeah, that was such a downer last year. Oh, you meant a free kick, Gary. Okay, sorry. No pen, free kick. No worries, free kick. Will I watch the Copa America? Yes, definitely. It starts on Friday, right? 100%. That's right in my time frame as well. I'm a late bird, so yes, I will watch it. Right, Chiesa. This coming in that said Liverpool, Bayern Munich and Roma are interested in signing Federico Chiesa, according to this report. And as I said, if we are interested, there's a deal to be done there for Federico Chiesa. Connor, can I get you to stick up a poll for me, mate? Just out of curiosity. I want to know which one you guys would prefer, Chiesa or Dybala. So, which one, if we signed one of these two, who would you prefer, Dybala or Chiesa? Now, don't write the answer in the comments. Vote in the poll. It's the easiest way. Going to Peru versus Chile and Texas on Friday, said Eric. Nice. Enjoy. That's class. Enjoy. Can you do neither? No, you just don't vote in the poll if you don't want to have either, mate. That's, I respect you, but no, there's no neither option. It's one or the other, or you just don't vote in this one. Georgie, how are you, my friend? So, by the way, Craig, I'm Georgian, like Kvaratskhelia, and a Liverpool fan, so imagine how I feel. Well, as I said, all I can say for certain is what his agent and his father said. And for those coming in a little bit late, I'll read it out to you. This is why we're so kind of excited about the possibility of Kvaratskhelia. Now, I'm not for 1 second saying we're about to sign him, but he wants out of Napoli and his options are going to be somewhat limited. So, this is what his agent said to Georgian TV. I don't want people to think that Kvaratskhelia wants to stay at Napoli. We want to leave, but we're waiting for the end of the Euros so as not to disturb Kvaratskhelia. The priority is to join a team that plays in the Champions League. Goes on to say, or his father, goes on to say, I don't want my son to stay in Napoli. They changed coach last season 3 times and it's hard to play in that situation. So his dad and his agent want out of Napoli. So where does he go? Well, it's going to be France and PSG or the Premier League, in my opinion. So who signs him? Let me know your thoughts on that one. For the right price, I'd be happy with it. And as I said, I've always spoken about a lack of consistency for me for Kvaratskhelia. But, if his dad's saying the coach changed 3 times and that didn't help, that can also explain some of the up and down performances. Can we discuss Jayden Danns? Absolutely. He'll go out on loan, most likely. I think that's the right move, personally. But yes, what a future Jayden Danns has ahead of him. I mean, I'd be shocked if he doesn't go out on loan. It feels like the right move because he needs to develop, needs to continue to sniff out goals and get competitive minutes. Whereas I don't feel at 18 he's ready to be dropped into the Liverpool attack week in and week out. And I feel like we need to focus on Darwin Núñez and let him develop. So I think the likes of Kumas and Danns I would see as a loan. McConnell, again, he's certainly going on loan, most likely to a championship club, although Birmingham have also been mentioned for him. And then, who's the other one I'm thinking about? Bobby Clark is another one to keep an eye on. That'll be interesting to see what Arne Slot does with him. Will he look to loan him out as well? Signed a new contract recently enough. I really like him, but is there space in our midfield for Bobby Clark right now? I'm not sure. I think maybe a little bit more development before he's ready. Leone, again, I don't know what the best thing to do with Trey Leone would be because he's really young. And I feel like, I don't know. Honestly, that's a very difficult one. I don't know what way the club will look at Leone because, again, big talent, but still young. Already had a little taste of first team football. Not sure. Not sure on that one. Do I agree that he should have played more last season? Who are we talking about again? Danns. No, I don't. I think it was about right. I understand the desire for it. And when Darren was misfiring at the end of the season, I get where you're coming from, but I think protecting him is more important. And we gave him a little taste, scored himself a brace. Yeah, I don't want us to get too ahead of ourselves with Jayden Danns or Kumas. I want them to come into a team that's doing well and have a little bit less pressure on their shoulders rather than looking for him to be the solution at 18, personally. I love Kvaratskhelia, but he's not worth 100 million. I don't think they'll get 100 million, Diana. I think the fact that he wants out and is being so public about wanting out, it's going to make it difficult for De Laurentiis and Napoli to really play hardball over Kvaratskhelia. So I think there's an opportunity to beat that price down a bit. Which team would you like to see us open the season with? Southampton? A handy one. We usually get one of the promoted teams if my memory's right. So, Leicester as well would be fun. I want a home game for the first game anyway. I'd like Arne Slot to kick off with a home game. So yeah, look, it is what it is. You play everyone twice anyway, but be nice to get off to a good start. Be nice to have a nice, handy opening few fixtures. Have I seen the links to the boy from Wolves? Yes, I'm going to speak about him in a moment, actually. I hadn't brought him up yet, but Liverpool are Liverpool are close to completing a deal for 16-year-old Alvin Ayman from Wolves. Reported compensation of $1.5 million if the deal goes through. Anybody want to help me out on this one? I don't know who the kid, what position the kid plays in even. But yes, it has been reported that we're closing on a £1.5 million deal for him, 16 years of age. That's all I know. When you get relegated to the sofa on vacation, do I go to the lobby? Now, Liz, I box clever. I always book a house when we go on holidays, remember, with the family? So there's usually a spare room somewhere. You know, we don't do hotels when all of us go away. We book a house. He's a central defender. Well, at 16, he's not ready for the first team anyway, so you would say that that's one for the future. But still, nothing wrong with bringing in the best young talent from around. We've seen that obviously with loads of players Liverpool have already brought in the business we've done. So, yeah, look, nothing wrong with that. Can I wish happy birthday to Pete? Of course I can, Redder. Happy birthday, Pete. Thank you for watching. Hope you're having a lovely birthday. Much love to you, my friend. So yes, thank you for your support. And from all of us, happy birthday. Right, what else haven't I gone through in the news yet? One sec. Done that. I gave you guys the Alan Hansen update, right? If I haven't, I think I have. It's positive anyway. Graham Souness said that he spoke to him on the phone and he's hopefully will make a full recovery, and he's sounding very, very good and healthy and bright on the phone, which is great news. Is there any chance that we might sell Trent this summer? I can't sit here and say no. How can I? I don't know that there's no chance. Because I can say here that the club don't want to get rid of him. The club want to keep him. But then you have to weigh up the idea of Trent leaving for free if he doesn't sign a new deal. So I wish I could sit here and say you've nothing to worry about. I hope you've nothing to worry about. But we're in an uncomfortable situation. He's away with England. Real Madrid hovering around. He's there, pally with Jude Bellingham. 1 year to go in his Liverpool contract. No sign of a breakthrough or an agreement yet. You know, as fans, of course we're going to be a bit nervous. You know, I don't know what else to say after that because I don't know any information one way or the other. But I know I don't like being in this position. I don't like that we're concerned. And I hope that Trent feels like his future's at Liverpool. Of course I do. Right, so we asked who would you prefer to sign, Chiesa or Dybala? And it's pretty much a landslide, so we can end that one. It is Chiesa who you guys would prefer over Dybala. Again, we were looking at two potentially cheap signings from Italy there. Who's the better teenage prodigy, Ronaldo 9 or Luke Littler? I mean, look, Luke Littler is doing unbelievably well. I mean, for such a young man, the composure that he shows up there on the Oki is phenomenal. You know, he is made for that position, to play darts. You know, he is a real superstar, and it's going to be a pleasure watching him win title after title after title after title over the next 15, 20, 25 years. He's just incredible. Tanya said Chiesa looks a beast, would love him. I think it will be a very astute piece of business, you know, especially with the situation he's in with Juventus. And I stand over what I said. I will be astonished if we don't make a signing before the end of June or agree a deal, because we know that there are clubs that have to sell to free up money to make sure that they don't fall under FFP or profit and sustainability rule breaches. And I hope that we're looking to prioritise and capitalise on some of that uncertainty. But it's all quiet on the Western Front at the moment with Liverpool. So, Connor, another poll please. Should we move on from Leny Yoro? Yes or no? Because people don't like when I say things like, I think this makes us look tin pot. But I do. And I can't help that. You know, I wouldn't go after a girl who said to me, you're alright, you know, you're okay, but I have my eye on someone else and I think he likes me. But if I can't get him, I'll revisit. That wouldn't make me feel like my future's with that lady. And I would say the same with regards to football. Did we do that poll earlier? Sorry, Connor. I wasn't paying attention, so no need to put it back up again, bro. That's on me, sorry. Archie Gray. So we talked about Archie Gray yesterday. All I can say to you is that reports are saying that if he's to move this summer, it's going to have to be a special deal. And by that I mean he needs a guarantee of playing time, because development is key for him now. So I think if anybody was to go to Leeds United and sign Archie Gray, the prudent thing to do would be loan him back for a year and see how he develops. So yeah, look, great player, great future ahead of him, but I feel like he's not going to get minutes. And I think these are the right moves. Like, if he was my son, I'd be saying the same thing. You need to play football. It's great the likes of Liverpool or whatever being interested in you, but are you really going to go to Liverpool and play next season? Probably not. So yeah, I think for the future, an incredible talent, and I think his development at Leeds would be, I think it would be the right thing to do if you bought him, loan him back for a season. Will there be an Ederson unveiling at the live show? Well, I hope we've made signings at that point, mate, because that's a week or so before the Prem kicks off. So I very much hope that we get the finger out at that point, yes. But I can't say we'll be unveiling him at the Anfield Agenda live show, no. Pateri from Finland, Sami Hyypiä. I don't know who that guy is, mate, in all honesty. Ederson is the player I can visualise in a Liverpool jersey, said Tanya. I very much want us to sign Ederson. And he's already been speaking to say that he would want to focus on what he's doing at the moment. And then after the tournament that he's playing in, look at what's going on with his career in regards to his club. He wants to focus on the Copa America. So Connor said earlier on, 65% said no chance of Leny Yoro. 35% said they think we have a chance. So if you're one of the people who voted that said you think we have a chance, please explain to me why you think we have a chance. I'm not going to jump down your throat, I promise. I'm just trying to understand the thought process, because he seems to have made it pretty clear that he wants to go to Madrid. And, it's not like we're dealing with a club that won't pull the trigger to get a deal done for him. So I just don't see how we still have a chance. I get the feeling Trent could be holding up on contract talks, which I think is worrying, said Stevie Boy. Well, mate, the entire situation to me is ridiculous. And I said this throughout the whole season. How do you let this happen? How do you? How do you let Trent get to the last year of his contract? Whatever about Verge and Salah, you could at least make the age argument. They're both 32, actually Verge 33. So you can make the age argument that you weren't sure if the careers were going to be going downhill. But with Trent, after the season he had as well, where he's come back this season and pushed on again, looked like he's developing into a man, vice captain, showed a versatility in playing at right back or in central midfield. It's the height of madness. I don't want to say stupidity, because I know Michael Edwards is not a stupid man. I know Richard Hughes is not a stupid man. But for us to be in this position is stupid. How? How do you let it happen? Because best case scenario, he stays and you end up overpaying. Look at Marcus Rashford. Manchester born and bred. Got down to the last year of his contract, and what did he do? He held out for a ridiculous wage, got it, and his form dropped off a cliff. Now, I don't expect Trent's form to drop off a cliff, but I know who has the better hand in the negotiations here, and it isn't us. And like I said for Mohamed Salah, somebody's getting 100 million quid. Mohamed Salah or Liverpool Football Club. I know who I want to get the 100 million quid, which is why I'm so adamant about selling him. Because he's going to leave in a year by the looks of it, and he'll probably get the 100 mil signed on bonus, and we'll end up with egg on our face. So for me, my interest is looking out for the football club, so I would sell. I think he could be waiting to see how good we are under Slot before committing his future. We can't do that, Jack. We can't. How do you go into this season with Slot and Trent not having made a decision on his future? I just don't see how we can have an upside to that. Because let's say Trent isn't happy with what he sees. Well, then in January he can sign a pre-contract with anybody outside of England. And there's nothing we can do about it. I think it's a very risky game to play. I can see it from Trent's perspective. If Trent wants to have a look, yeah. But from the club's perspective, madness. It is all madness to me. If Trent's playing games, then call his bluff and sell, said DJ. Look, I don't want people to be turning on Trent here, by the way, because we don't know what the situation is. And I'm hoping that we get the positive news. So I don't want to be like, this is like we're turning on Trent. Not at all. I want Trent to stay. I hope he stays. I'm just annoyed at the club that we're in this position. Are we interested in Eze? I can't say I've seen many links for us and Eze. I've seen some for Elise, but I can't sit here and say in good conscience that I've seen many links to Eze or heard much about Eze. No. Janine said, because I think Nacho will stay. Okay, but even if he does stay, Trent's an upgrade, in my opinion, and certainly marketability-wise with Real Madrid. Trent, 25 years of age, in there with Bellingham, making Bellingham feel even more at home, with Mbappe, Vinny Jr., Rodrigo, Tchouaméni, Camavinga, Valverde, probably Alphonso Davies. Yeah. I just don't get it. I don't understand how we're here. I can somewhat rationalise the Salah and Van Dijk situations. One, you want to see if they both are losing performance levels. But with Trent, don't get it. So, Connor asked, Trent will extend his contract 80%, be sold this summer 14%, leave for free next summer 5%. Now, what I want to pull up on in this poll is, this isn't asking what you want to happen with Trent. We're asking what you think will happen with Trent. And honestly, if 80% of you are that confident that he signs a new deal, God, I wish I was one of you, because I'd love to be that calm about it. And that's the outcome I want. Make no mistake about that. But God, I couldn't be that convinced that it's definitely going to happen. Georgie said, imagine Fabrizio tweeting, here we go, Trent to Madrid. Mate, I would smash my telly. I'd be that annoyed. Here's a question for you. Is there anybody from the club side, because we've already heard a really good point from somebody who said perhaps Trent wants to see what we're like under Slot. And I can see that. I can understand that 100%. But my question that I'd like to ask you guys is, can you see a situation from the club's perspective why this has happened? That's the part I can't get my head around. I can understand Trent and his agent. I can understand so many parts of it, but I just can't understand how the club thinks this is good or positive or sensible. That, I just can't figure it out. Steve, how are you? I'm 62 today. Firstly, bro, happy birthday. Much love to you. 62. You're just 20 years older than me, bro, but thank you. Much love. And work gave me a paid day off. Nice. I'm confident about good signings under the new management team. Are you? Enjoy your shows. Class acts and work, mate, giving you a paid day off. That's brilliant. So well done to your employer, first and foremost. Don't be getting any ideas, Crosby. Or Ben. But yeah, that's class. I'm confident as well about the playing style. I'm confident about the manager. I'm confident we'll do business. I've obscene amounts of faith in Michael Edwards. But yeah, I'm nervous about the Trent situation. Less so about Salah, because with Salah, I think it's only going to come down to whether I'm annoyed that we let him go for free or we get money. But I'm convinced he goes, whether it's this summer or next summer. So that I've kind of made my peace with to some extent. With Van Dijk, I'm equally as confused as Trent, but at least I can look at it and think, well, maybe the club thought he's 33. An extension till he's 36, 37, is that sensible? I would say yes. For him, a 2-year extension is sensible because he's not somebody who relies on pace or anything like that. So with Verge being our captain, I think that should be a no-brainer. And I hope that Verge feels the same way, because when I seen links of him going to maybe Dortmund to replace Mats Hummels, that worried me because I could see it. I could actually see him playing in front of the yellow wall in a Dortmund shirt. And I think it would probably actually be a good move for him. So that worried me. Yeah. It's just weird. Like, again, we're supposed to be a club that's clever with our money. And as I've said, the last 12 players to leave our football club, only 4 of them have brought in a transfer fee. Those 4 players were Minamino, Henderson, Fabinho, and Sadio Mane. And let's look at those deals. Mane ran his contract down, and then we got minimal money for him to go to Bayern Munich. We got about 30 million quid. Fabinho, we got good money for, to be fair. 40 million quid for him to go to Saudi, I think, was good money. Henderson, well, he was just growing football around the world, folks, wasn't he? You know, it wasn't about the money there. It was just about growing the game around the world. And Minamino, that just didn't work out, so that was, you know, fair enough. The Liverpool Prophet said, Craig, I'm a bit confused on FSG's ambition. We get told they only want top 4, yet they don't even show ambition for that. What gets me is the crap that they spout about having the ability to challenge these big clubs. And to me, they don't show ambition to go and win. They show ambition to improve the value of the club. No problem admitting that, because that'll benefit them. But I don't see, so far, an ambition to dominate. And I don't feel like they're doing everything they can do. I don't. And maybe that's the reason why I'll never get any acknowledgement from the football club or media opportunities, because I'm one of the few people who will call out their shit in this regard and say things like, where's the money, John? Because he has it, and those people, in my opinion, who are happy with the status quo, I think they're part of the problem, quite frankly. You know, people who hide behind it, they saved us from bankruptcy, they can do one, because they didn't. They got themselves a deal, a very good deal, and somebody would have bought the club. There was, I think, 11 or 12 registers of interest, so there was no chance of the club going into bankruptcy or administration. That was never happening. So I don't buy that, nor do I buy the whole we've won stuff with them, because yes, we have, but we could have won a lot fucking more, and nothing's ever going to change my mind on that. Nobody can tell me that a couple more top-notch signings wouldn't have given us maybe another league title or made a difference in one of those European Cup finals. So yes, I think Klopp covered over a lot of their deficiencies with his magnificence, and Linders and Kravitz and all the other coaches that were there, even going back to Buvac. I think they dug the owners out a bit, and this is the acid test for FSG, because they don't have Jurgen Klopp anymore. They don't have that figurehead who can attract players off his name alone. Now they've got to show their worth, and it's one thing finding players who have more development left in them. That's great, and you know, that helps you get to the future and build a team. But there's the here and now as well, and we shit the bed at the end of the season. And there's no other way to phrase that. Our lack of depth and showed us up at the end of the campaign. When it came to the business end of the season, we fell away. And that's not good enough. Now, I'm happy with the season as a whole, and I would have taken it beforehand. But in the position we were in, we again showed up that we were a bit short. And that's not good enough. And we're always chasing. So now we're going in, and for me, the next 2 signings we make are just to cover up for losing Thiago and Matip. So that's, in my opinion, that's just to get us back to where we were. And that's before we look to add depth to the squad. Now, of course, you can argue, and it is valid, that some of the younger players will give us that depth. If Bajcetic comes back, that will increase depth. So I'm open to that as well. But sometimes you need as close to a goddamn guarantee as you can get. And us signing Endo and Arsenal signing Declan Rice tells a lot. Oh, Mbappe looks like he's broken his nose. Ouch. That looks painful. Hopefully he's alright. But yeah, for me, look, that's a difference. Arsenal go out there and sign Declan Rice. Yes, you can say we tried to sign Caicedo, but we didn't get Caicedo, so ultimately that's an irrelevant point. And Arsenal will need a striker, and I doubt they're not going to hang around there. I think they've tried for Sesko. He's going to stay on but one more year in Leipzig. But if you want to win stuff, you can't just tread water. You have to go forward, not backwards. Do you think Trent wants to join Jude Bellingham? Said King Pop. And thank you for your membership, mate. I don't know. How can I? Yeah, I don't know what's going on in Trent's mind, but I know it makes me nervous seeing them together. You know, when we thought we were looking to bring Bellingham to Liverpool, it was great. The Hendo friendship, the Trent friendship, but now that we're the potential ones losing out here, and we lost out on that one anyway, but yeah, look, I find it hard to believe anybody who's a Liverpool fan looking at Trent with England and Bellingham isn't nervous. But the poll genuinely baffles me here, the results of this poll. That 80% of people feel like it's a formality that Trent's going to sign the new deal. I wish I had that faith, because it's the outcome we all want, but I feel like a lot of people there are voting with their heart rather than their head. All transfer windows for us feel like a bit of a letdown. Yes. I mean, sorry, I was thinking, because I was going to make the argument about the whole Alisson summer, but even at that, at the end of it, you know, we had a bit of a hiccup where we never finished the summer business. We didn't get Nabil Fekir over the line. And last summer's business was good, but it was hectic. There was a lot of very last minute type deals, like the one to bring in Dominic Szoboszlai. You know, that was a bit... Alright, let me say it another way. I don't think 3 or 4 of the signings made in the last year under Klopp would have been made under Edwards. I don't see Michael Edwards signing with Toro Endo. I don't see Michael Edwards signing Dominic Szoboszlai. I don't see Michael Edwards signing Darwin Núñez. I'm not saying they're all wrong signings by any stretch. I'm just saying that there was an obvious step away from a transfer policy. And maybe that's because Jurgen got more say in these conversations, and he earned that say, and that's fair enough as well. But it was definitely a change from previous campaigns. Santino, how are you, my man? Said, if he has it in his mind that he might want to test the waters, he's already gone. Sell him and try to use the money to reinforce. I mean, where do I go with that? I agree. If there's any doubt in his mind, you know, we're in trouble. Because we can't allay all his fears. We can't. There's nobody can sit down with Trent now and go, everything's going to be amazing under Arne Slot. Because we just don't know. You can hope, you can make a valid argument, but Trent will have to take a leap of faith there. And we don't have time to dick about. Because soon as this window closes, that's it. The clock ticks to January when you can sign a pre-contract, and it becomes a destabilising factor. Whether you want to admit it or not, it does. Because the Spanish media are going to be hounding about the story. You know they are. Same with the Salah stuff. One of the things that has frustrated me most about Salah's time at the club, and there aren't many because he's been brilliant, is the constant conjecture about new deals or leaving. It's tiring. And we're here again. If Trent is going to transition into midfield, makes sense for Madrid to sign him. I don't think if he goes to Madrid he plays in midfield. I think if he goes to Madrid he plays in the full-back role without having to do much defending. So he plays basically as a winger if he goes to Madrid, in my opinion, where he'll just be going up down that right hand side, hopping in crosses and shooting. So yeah, I agree. If he goes to Madrid, I find it hard to see him in midfield. Trent has previously said he wants to stay at Liverpool for his whole career. Previously being a key word. So let me spin you the other side of this, Tobias. Did you see Trent when Kloppo was leaving? He looked devastated because Klopp was such a big influence on Trent. And understandably, he's an incredible manager and he helped Trent develop even further. So Trent seeing that manager leave. And when a manager like Jurgen leaves, sometimes it's easier for a player to think, maybe it's time for me for a new chapter. Because that was 9 years Trent had with Jurgen. And many other players as well. But we're just talking about Trent for this instance. So I seen how upset Trent was. And I get back to the point of saying, if he wants to be here for his whole career, how have he not signed a new deal yet? There has to be a reason why he hasn't signed a new deal yet. There has to be. I can't believe it's because no one's offered him one, or because the club haven't started negotiations, or haven't asked to start negotiations. I can't figure that out. We need to know who's going and staying so we can get new players. I like getting players early so they can have a proper pre-season, said Lisa. I agree with you, Lisa. Ideally, you want players in as early as possible. Certainly when the lads get back training. Now, of course, some people are going to be on international duty, and this is one of those summers where we have to understand that. But these summers are difficult when you've got a manager who's already bedded in, let alone a whole new regime coming in. So the way I look at this, Lisa, is we're going into this window with a new manager, 3 really important players whose futures are not resolved, and that's before we get to strengthening. And that worries me, because I can't see why the club didn't see this coming. Or even worse, I'm worried that they did see it coming and think it's the right thing to do. I don't understand it. If Trent leaves, is Frimpong a good replacement? He's a good option for 40 million euro. That's his buyout clause in his Leverkusen contract. I would imagine there'll be a bit of a bidding war for the wages, because a lot of people will look at 40 million and think that's a bargain. So yes, to some extent. I wish we had Camavinga in red. Oh, Billy, same. I didn't appreciate how good he was when he was in France, by the way. It was only really my first time seeing the penny drop was when he played against Ireland with France. I watched him and I just thought, this kid is incredible. But yeah, he went to Real Madrid as well. It'll be like Beckham leaving United, but if Trent wants to leave, he'll be going a legend. So all I can promise you is this: if Trent leaves Liverpool Football Club, there'll be no toxicity from me about it. Because he's won everything here. And I can understand a player wanting another chapter in their career. I'd prefer it if he stayed. I hope he stays. But I won't be toxic about it. If Trent leaves to go to Real Madrid, it makes it a little bit easier to stomach the fact he's not going to be against us in the Prem for a start. But it's Real Madrid. And with the team they're building now, and the new stadium, well, the revitalised stadium, the possibility that they may have Xabi Alonso going in there in a year's time, the side that they're assembling, they're losing players, the likes of Modric and Kroos over time, but they're replacing them magnificently well. So if I'm Trent and the manager that I'm really close with has just left the club, and I'm away in England duty listening to Jude Bellingham telling me about the European Cup win he's just had and how fantastic life is in Madrid, I can't say, you wouldn't weigh it up in your mind and think, it's a special club. It is, and 15 European Cups don't lie. And Trent's won the league at Liverpool. Gerrard didn't have that when Chelsea came in. He'd won the European Cup, but he hadn't won the league. Trent's won it all with Liverpool. So, I hope he wants to stay and win many more, but you just never know. If Trent leaves Liverpool, it's not a good idea. From said Sweet Boy. Is it? I mean, look, I know we have our Liverpool hats on, but you could hardly say it's a stupid move if he went to Real Madrid. You know, it's not like he's going to, I don't know, Roma. You know, which you go, what? We are talking about the biggest club in the world. And if they want you, it has to be at least flattering, you know? Coach Bill said, Craig, with Real Madrid always looming, I don't think we'll ever have Xabi Alonso. See, the thing about that is, managers don't last 7, 8, 9 years in Madrid. No matter what happens. Like, there's been managers there that have won the league and the European Cup and been sacked. So, if Alonso goes to Real Madrid, it'll be a 4 or 5 year thing max probably. So I can see a time where he comes to Liverpool in the future. Because managers' careers are obviously quite long and he's only starting his journey. So I can see that being a possibility down the line. I wouldn't be a case of if he goes from Leverkusen to Madrid, we're never seeing him at Liverpool. I think we will, because there's plenty of time. I think he'll manage all the clubs he wants to. Bayern, Liverpool and Real Madrid. I think he has that ability. Ace Santino said, as much as I love Liverpool, that is Real Madrid, they're building the Galacticos Part 6. And they're building it so well that it's frustrating to watch because they're so ruthlessly strategic with the rebuild. Has Madrid actually come out and said they want Trent? The club, no. The media that are attached to Madrid, yes. So, you know, Real Madrid don't really ever comment on these things, but they do tip off their friendly media, the likes of Marc and whatnot, and they'll do the bidding for them. Craig, are we cursed up Madrid? For the last 6 or 7 years, we're losing to them on the pitch and outside of it. They're like a plague. I know it's been difficult, but they are in Spain. Good weather. They have the pedigree, so it's not like we can say that they don't match us for that. They do. They've just redone their stadium and it's amazing. They've got youthful players who are going to be there for decades, probably, with the likes of Bellingham. It's just one of those things. There's not much you can do about it, you know. I have a theory on Madrid as well, by the way. I think another reason that they're stockpiling all these talents are, let's say they stick with their Super League plan. It's going to be very difficult for UEFA to go and throw them out if they've got Bellingham, Vinicius Jr., Mbappe, Rodrigo, Tchouameni, Camavinga, Valverde, and all these other superstars. How do you expel that team from your competitions when they have some of the most sought after players in the world? I think it's strengthening their hand in those Super League negotiations to get more of what they want from UEFA. Whether they ever get to a Super League or not, I do feel like they've leveraged the situation by strengthening and saying, well, kick us out and you're losing all these players. No more Kylian Mbappe in UEFA. No more Jude Bellingham in UEFA. Grim Reaper said, Trent is the creativity of the squad. There's no way FSG sell him. He's going into his prime soon. It'd be very different Liverpool without Trent's vision. So I hear you, but you've said there's no way Liverpool sell him. Why have they let him get to this position with his contract? That's the part I can't figure out, mate. And I know I'm like a broken record, but I agree with everything you've said about Trent's importance, but I can't come to terms with how he's in this position. As I said, there's 4 players, if you include Yaros, who've 1 year to go. And I can see an argument for Van Dijk, because you think he's 33. If you extend him to 35, 36, is he still going to be the same? I think yes, but I can at least see an argument. With Salah, again, similar thing. Do you get 1 more year out of him, let him leave for free? Do you extend? But I still feel like this is the height of stupidity, being in this position and not having clarity on it. But with Trent, I don't see the potential upside. There is no worry about his future with regards to his calibre as a player, or his legs, or his injury track record. To allow Trent, your vice captain, to get to this position, I'm sorry to use this phrase, but it's nothing short of stupid. The club should be ashamed of themselves for letting Trent get to this position. Because it's not done anything but weaken our standpoint. And that's just a fact. There's no other way to look at it other than the club have made a fucking mess of this. And it's not the first time. V. Aaron said, somebody needs to look into Madrid's FFP. Don't know how anyone's supposed to compete with the amount they spend. Just doesn't seem like it's done fairly. So, I can't speak to the wages. But I can speak somewhat to their transfer business. Look at how much they've spent in recent years. It actually isn't that much. I was surprised, and you see the money they've brought in as well. Remember, they got 70 million quid for Casemiro, and they only put another 10 on top of that to sign Bellingham. So that's just great business. And they've done the same with some other players as well. Sold them on for hefty fees and replaced them with players like Camavinga, who were contractually had the club in a vulnerable position, and Madrid capitalised on it. And now they're doing the very same thing with Leny Yoro. 1 year to go on his Lille contract, and they're making their play, knowing that they can get him for a knockdown fee. Or worst case scenario, get him in a year for nothing. That's a great way to operate. Now, as I said, I can't speak to the wages, but I can definitely say, look at the transfer business they've done in and out. And they haven't really, they haven't done a Chelsea in the last few years. Is Trent waiting on the new manager and then deciding? Well, we've got the new manager. He can't really wait until he sees how Liverpool are playing under the new manager, because for us that leaves us in a situation where you have between September and January to get a deal done. Because you can't sell him in that time, but he can sign a pre-contract in January to go away from the club in the summer for free. Again, how do you let that happen? Like, it's a big leap of faith to just assume he's going to sign a new deal. Even if he's told the club. If he came into my office and I was Michael Edwards and Trent sat in front of me and said, I love this football club. I want to stay here forever. I've no intention of ever leaving. I still wouldn't be satisfied till his name was on a contract. Because 1 year to go. Words are just that. Words. Need the name on the contract. Where's the fucking offer? We were told in January the offer was going to be made before the end of the season. Remember? Go back and read all the articles on The Athletic, The Echo and everybody else. They told us that Liverpool were going to deal with it at the end of the season. Or before the end of the season. We were told that we had to figure out the managerial situation and all this other shit. So, yes, we had to go look for a manager. And yes, we had to bring in Richard Hughes. And yes, there was others that were coming in. But you can't ignore negotiating with your vice captain, who's in his prime now, whilst everything else is going on. Harry said, thoughts on England? I think England should do 3-box-3 like Liverpool. Invert Trent at right back with Rice in the 6, doing a Gravenberch role. So, my thoughts on England are like I've said all the way through. They have the capabilities to go and win the Euros. But do they have the mentality to do it? They have the strength and depth. They have a great squad. My only... This is going to sound shitty, but remember I'm Irish. Actually, not even because I'm Irish. My only concern with any of the players away on international duty now is that they don't get injured. After that, I don't really give a fuck what happens, because Ireland isn't involved and my priority is to make sure these boys are back uninjured. So, in an ideal world for me, our players get knocked out in the group stages and they're back at Anfield training. Kirby, training, preparing for the new season, but that's me being selfish. Trent holds all the cards. If he wants to wait, we cannot force a contract on him. But you're still missing my point, Ashley. We let it get to this point. So we could have made him a contract offer 6 months ago. And if we rejected it, the club at least at that point have a PR save to say, well, we offered him a deal. Right now, we don't know if there's been any offer or not. But what we do know is the dude's got a year to go on his deal. And he's away with England. That's all we know for a fact. Coach Bill said Bobby Clark deserves a shot in the first team. Not yet. Not for me. Not yet. But he's definitely... I love Bobby Clark. And I think he's a solid pro. But I don't think he's ready yet. That's my honest view on that one. Will Kelleher go to Celtic? And will they sign Ida from Norwich for 9 million? So, on Kelleher to Celtic, I honestly don't think they can come up with the dough. You know, because he's worth 20 million quid of anyone's money. There's no denying that anymore, if not more. So, can Celtic pay a £20 million transfer fee? I don't know the answer to that. I'd be doubtful, but I don't know the answer to it. But that's what it would take. Liverpool, I don't think, should compromise on a fee for Kelleher because he's earned the right to command us a fee and he's earned the right to go to a club that he wants to go to as well. But I don't know if Celtic can afford him. Slot is going to get a short pre-season, said Dave Sharples. Yep. Look, I've no doubts about Slot. Weirdly, I'm very confident about the gaffer. And I'm looking forward to the style of football we're going to get to see. But I'm just nervous. That's the only way I can describe it to you guys. Right now, I'm just nervous. Because uncertainty is nobody's friend at this moment in time. So, I'm going to run through the news. For those coming in late after the football or whatever, let me just fly through today's news for you guys, as we always tried to do for the last part of the stream. And bear with me as I go through it. Keep your comments coming in. I'll catch up with them after this. But from top to bottom, this is your roundup of today's Liverpool news. First thing that came in was a report from Mundo Deportivo that said Liverpool have had a £42 million bid rejected for Lille's Leny Yoro, with the French club holding out for £50 million for somebody who wants to sign the defender. Now, I would say treat this with a huge pinch of salt. We can all say confidently that Liverpool are interested in Leny Yoro. But why would we have bid if the players made it clear he wants to go? And also, if we did bid, why have none of the English media got any indication on this bid, nor the French media? It's only coming from Spain. And that makes me feel like, again, Madrid are fluffing the media to make this big play to go, well, Liverpool wanted him and United wanted him and PSG wanted him and he chose Real Madrid. And they'll use that in their negotiating. They'll use that to hammer down Lille on the fee. They'll say, sell us the kid for a reasonable fee now or we'll sign him for free in a year. And they'll win. And they'll get their player. So that's why I'm very dubious about that offer or the report of it. Next thing was just an update from Trent after his performance in midfield for England. He said it's physically demanding, but when you're playing with the likes of Declan Rice, Jude Bellingham and the others in and around you with an experienced back four, it helps. With Declan and Jude talking to you and guiding you through the game, it's hard to go wrong. He went on to say the manager and the staff, Steve Holland especially, we're put a lot of work into this. So I've prepared well and I did what was asked of me. And hopefully they think that as well because we got the win. Next thing up was Kvaratskhelia. And this is the mad news for me today. So there's always been tentative links to Liverpool and Kvaratskhelia. But there was also the whole will he leave Napoli stuff. Well, his agent and his dad have made it very, very clear what their preference is. His agent said this to Georgian TV ahead of the Euros kicking off. I don't want people to think that Kvaratskhelia wants to stay in Napoli. We want to leave, but we're waiting for the end of the Euros so as not to disturb him. The priority is to join a team that plays in the Champions League. We play in the Champions League. So for me, PSG are the only other major force that are at the table for Kvaratskhelia that we know of. His father, well, he backed up what the agent said. His father said, I don't want my son to stay at Napoli. They changed coach 3 times last season and it's hard to play in that situation. So that may explain the kind of up and down season that he had and the inconsistencies that Napoli had last year. They went from winning the Scudetto, having a good run in Europe, to looking like a pale imitation of themselves. We Osimhen, Kvaratskhelia, or many other Napoli players. So my fear about Kvaratskhelia, and I've always said the same thing, is I haven't yet seen enough consistency. But for the right price, with somewhat of a leap of faith, could I see it being a potential? Yes. Because, again, he's exciting. I'm sure that he is in that category of player that Michael Edwards would feel can be improved and has a higher ceiling. So from that perspective, you've got to say maybe. The next thing was Pep Lijnders being keen on bringing a player from Liverpool over to RB Salzburg. That player is Vladislav Jaros, our number 3 or 4 goalkeeper, who could potentially become our number 2 if Kelleher departs. But what I didn't know until today was he's only got 1 year left on his deal. So Pep Lijnders wants to sign him for Salzburg. He's already played in that league, won it last year with Sturm Graz, won the cup as well. Now we may lose him unless the club get him to sign a new deal. So another one to keep an eye on there in the goalkeeping department. Then we had Fabrizio Romano saying that Brighton have made contact to start talks over Crescencio Somerville deal. He went on to say it's not an easy one. Many clubs are keen, but Brighton have started initial talks to explore this possibility. Liverpool and Chelsea have been monitoring him in recent months. It's still an open race. So Fabrizio saying it's definitely not a done deal. You know, he's not going to Brighton, but they've started the ball rolling. Then we got a good update on Alan Hansen from Graham Souness, which to me honestly is the best piece of news all day. Graham Souness has said, I spoke to Alan Hansen yesterday. He sounded fabulous, so I hope he's well on the way to a full recovery. He's definitely back because he did nothing but take the mickey out of me, which was great to hear. So yes, that's great news. And honestly, if nothing else today, that's positive stuff. Then there was a story coming out again of Spain and Mundo Deportivo to say that Liverpool target David Hanko has been linked with Leicester City and now Atletico Madrid have come to the table. Again, I'm not sure how strong our interest is. Easy to make the connection because he played at Feyenoord with Arne Slot, obviously, and he's got a valuation of about £29 million or €35 million. So I wouldn't worry too much about that because I don't think he's really a target of ours. Next up is Marc Guehi from Crystal Palace, who absolutely is on the list of players Liverpool have looked at. Again, Sami Mokbel has said Liverpool are one of the clubs closely monitoring Marc Guehi ahead of next season. Another piece said that if he does not sign a new deal with Palace, which is what Palace want him to do, then he could be available for around £65 million this summer. They've also credited Manchester United as having an interest in Marc Guehi. I think this would be good business. Even at 65 million quid, I think it's good business. And he's a player that we know we've been looking at for a while. So I'd have no issues if Liverpool made that sign. And in fact, I think it would be a great piece of business. The next piece, again, is from Fabrizio Romano that says, Liverpool are there for Leny Yoro. They're waiting to see what happens between Madrid and Yoro. We've spoken about this a bit, so I'll let you make your own mind up on that one. A bit of a mad one then came in from the secret scout that said, Liverpool are close to completing a deal for 16-year-old Alvin Ayman from Wolves. Reported compensation of £1.5 million if the deal goes through. Then next up was a report that came out to say Liverpool, Bayern Munich and Roma are all interested in signing Federico Chiesa of Juventus. He of course also has 1 year left on his contract, and it's thought that a fee of about maybe 25-30 million euro could be enough to get him out of Turin, but they'll report that he wants more, or they want more than that, but again, they're not in a great position. Another piece from Fabrizio said Liverpool rumour target Levi Colwill will only leave Chelsea if he asks to leave the club. Bayern Munich are more interested in signing Jonathan Tah, and he goes on to say that Chelsea have received no official offer yet for Levi Colwill from anybody. Just another reminder as well that on Tuesday 18th of June, tomorrow as I record this, the transfer fixtures will come out, the fixtures for next season will come out, and we'll know who we're going to play in what order, so keep an eye out for that dropping as well. And the Premier League has removed its team news embargo, meaning that we will now get team news 75 minutes before rather than 1 hour, given a few more minutes for us to know who's going to be starting in a particular game or not. But the big thing for me today is that if you're watching this, I want to know how concerned you are about the Trent situation. We conducted a poll earlier on, and it seemed like 80% of the Anfield Agenda audience felt like it was most likely that Trent would sign a new deal at the club. I wish I had that optimism. It's certainly the outcome that I want, but as of right now, it's not one that I feel I can say confidently is absolutely going to happen, because we don't know that. Also, on top of that, I would be surprised if we don't see Liverpool make... I'm putting myself out here a little bit, but I'd be surprised if we don't see Liverpool do something before the end of June. Mainly because of the whole profit and sustainability rules and the fact that clubs are going to have to free up cash. And Liverpool should be looking to leverage that situation to their favour, because we, of course, don't have any PSR or FFP worries. Over the 3-year period, you're allowed to lose 150 million quid. Liverpool lost 6 million. So we don't really have any concerns there. Or it was 105 million, sorry. Liverpool lost 6 million. So we've lots of wiggle room. Now it's over to Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes to get the ball rolling and get us a couple of signings, because we need them, and we need them soon. So that's the latest Liverpool news update. Over to you guys now. There you go, Connor. 8 minutes and 10 seconds again, I think. Right. So, what have you guys got to say on this one? Would love England to win, but always feel like we won't, or we could have. What else have we got? Marc is a £40 million player. 65 million, no way. Really? Disagree. He's now an English international, more than experienced in the Premier League, and he's homegrown. So, whatever his value is, you've got to probably tack on 20% for the homegrown tax, and the fact that every Premier League club has to have a certain amount of homegrown players, so you always pay a premium for that. So I would disagree on the 40 million valuation. Maybe last year, but after another decent season, although he's had an injury and he's playing with England at the Euros, I think 65 million, you might get him for a little bit less, but I don't think it's in the realms of crazy, personally. Latest on Yoro, same as. Liverpool are standing around waiting to see if Real Madrid sign him or not. That's basically it. Craig, is Slot not having any interviews till July? Unsure, Keith. The expected situation is that we'll hear something from towards the end of this month. But I can't give you a definitive date as to when we'll get an Arne Slot press conference or not. I don't know is the honest answer. The media seem to think end of this month, start of July. Do you think that Edwards and Richard Hughes are negotiating the contract for Trent, Mo and VVD before signing players? I don't know, but what the fuck were the club doing all last year is my response to that. You know, because we did have people working at the club that could have been negotiating these deals last year. I just don't understand how we're here. That's my stance on this. Are they trying to figure it out? I'm sure they are. But every day that goes by, the leverage shifts further and further in favour of the players and their agents and away from the club. Why not go for De Ligt? I can think of 350,000 reasons a week why not to go for Matthias De Ligt. And that's before you look at his sketchy injury record as well, Michelle. So for me, yeah, that one was... once he went to Juventus for crazy wages and money before moving on to Bayern Munich... yeah, it's just not worth the expense, in all honesty. Don't care about Europe as long as players stay fit. That's kind of where I am as well, Ashley, with it all, mate. Right, we are only 30 likes away from 400, so do hit that like button if you haven't. And we're only one sub away as well from 21,650, so if you haven't hit that subscribe button, my friends, please do. Also, just want to remind you that we have today found out that we'll have a special guest for our live show at Liverpool on the 4th of August. We'll tell you who it is soon, But remember, we've only got a handful of tickets left. So if you want to come along, you need to get your tickets from the link at the top of the chat or by scanning that QR code soon. There's honestly less than this many left. So yeah, if you want to come along, make sure you get your tickets. They're £15 and it's an all ages event. August 4th, Hot Water Comedy Club, and August 2nd in Cardiff at the Richard Burton Theatre. Right, imagine Real does PSG and Mbappe thing with us and Trent, and he goes there for free next summer. Could happen. And what I would add to that is, if that happened, you then have the whole season of a distraction as well, and an undertone that's kind of festering and a distraction, and it doesn't help. So I'm sorry to keep repeating myself, but I am absolutely baffled by this Trent situation. We look incompetent at best. What are the clubs thinking? Said Boxer. I don't know, and silence doesn't help us in this. You know, we all keep hoping, and I certainly hope that I get up tomorrow and see loads of positive news. But I don't know. I just don't know at this moment. Like, I'm hopeful, but like I know we'll do transfer business. Of course we will, but I'm still at a loss to figure out how Trent's been allowed to get to this position. Craig, if there's no quality DM on centre-back, focus on centre-backs. Or in the market, focus on centre-backs. So let me say this, Kelvin. Don't take the soup. Don't buy that bollocks that's coming out from the likes of... Well, I don't want to single out any journals, but don't buy that nonsense that there isn't an upgrade available in defensive midfield on the market. Because it is absolute nonsense of the highest order. We can all name 6 off the top of our heads that would be better than Endo. Endo's good. But this nonsense that Liverpool have been scouring the market and can't find anyone who'd potentially be an upgrade. Sorry, I'm not having that. That's nonsense. And the example that David Lynch gave was Fabinho. Well, he wasn't world class when we signed him. He became world class at Liverpool. So even the example given is just a poor argument. And then he went on to talk about João Neves not getting enough games, not getting into the Benfica team last year. And he didn't even get the fucking amount of appearances that he made right. He said he only made 18 and I think he made like 30. And somebody had to point that out to him. And this is the journalist trying to downplay our need for that position or the availability of somebody strong enough in that position. The whole thing for me feels like there's way too many people who are pussies and toe the company line. Was it Florentino Luis? He said that about Connor. Sorry, I thought it was Neves. I knew it was the kid from Benfica. But either way, he was wrong on the appearances. And it was pointed out to him. There's too many people just being too nice, in my opinion. Somebody has to grow a pair and say, what on earth are we at? Do we want to win? Please, for the love of God, we need to show ambition. And I don't know, maybe... I don't know. I know that I'm nervous, and that much I can't change at the moment. Would you do a DVD of a live show? Nope. I never want to see it again, mate. You know, I don't want to rewatch this. I'm scared shitless of doing stage shows. So, no, for me, these are the last 2, and then yeah, I'll live off the memories that I did them pretty much. Ederson, look, exactly. You can name loads, mate. We'll all have our own favourites that we think will come into DM and improve us. Ederson happens to be my one. There are many others, though. There's João Neves, Vifor, I don't know, because I haven't seen enough of him. There's Kone, Thuram, other defensive midfielders around Europe that we could have looked at. I mean, you could test Real Madrid's resolve for Tchouaméni, but I think you're wasting your time. But there are definitely options. Would I take Coutinho back? No, mate. He's finished. And he made his bed when he forced his way out of Liverpool. So, yeah, let him go and stew in wherever the hell he's going to play football next. Keith said you're good at them. Thank you, mate. They make me very, very nervous, bro. Right, look, ladies and gents, I'm going to call that a night. Going to go grab a shower, and I will see you guys tomorrow. What's the fixtures tomorrow? I'll tell you now if we're going to do a Liverpool news show or not. One sec. Right, tomorrow in the Euros. Yeah, we're going to do a watch along tomorrow because we've got the Ogo watch. So we'll do the Portugal game tomorrow night, 7:30, and we'll put out a news video or a live stream at 5 o'clock tomorrow as well. So, excuse me. Until then, thank you guys for tuning in. Love to know your thoughts if you're watching this back later on in the comment section. And hopefully we get some positive updates soon, because there will be some. It's just now is a bit of a nervous time waiting around. So until then, my friends, much love. Have a wonderful evening. I'll chat to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.